so freaking bad. Wrestle me.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome once again to the Juice Hole. And your host, Justin Juice Wallace, Sretton the Somewhat Savage, wherever he's at in the clouds, and Bruiser Bodie.
We're fucking back with episode 234, and with us we have the one, the only, the true fucking champion of XPW wrestling. That's right, we have the Ultra Violent fucking Beast Masada.
Masada, brother, how you doing? How you feeling, man?
Doing good. Like, yeah, hanging in there. Badass intro, by the way.
Well, you gotta be feeling better than you were fucking back in April, man. That's just
yeah, for sure. I'm still healing up from it. I mean, my left hand is the only thing that's giving me issues right now. But
well, I mean,
other than
you kind of got a quick turnaround on that because if I'm not mistaken, you're being advertised to come back May 27th for what is it, at the Hart Ballroom in Jersey?
I'll definitely be there. I'm not exactly 100% sure as of what's really going on with that. I know Cab Martini wants to strip the titles or the championship belts from me, but I'll still be there. I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah,
I'm kind of left out of the
what's
loop.
your thoughts on that shit? I mean, that's a little. How are you going to strip you of the belts? At least go the fucking. I hate to compare or contrast or whatever, but the one thing I did kind of like the AEW did was when someone got hurt, it is kind of like a sports centric feel. Give them an interim fucking title.
Yeah.
If you're going to do that, then have that motherfucker get his ass whipped once you're one hundo.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's going off of what the doctors said. The doctors telling me like it's going to take anywhere for like months to year to like fully heal, but I don't have time for that bullshit, man. Honestly, I'm ready to go right now. Just tape it up.
So, dude, take us back through that fucking moment because that's intense. And like,
I
mean, I tried to share it like the clip and shit, and every social media thing was dinging me like, nah, that's too fucking brutal.
Of course, of course it did.
Well, I mean, the thing is, it wasn't even like really planned in the match. Like that's
Right.
what sucked. It's like we already had like a four-way dance like put together, and then someone told me like the match needed fire, and I've said before, I'm not going to throw them under the bus because I'm friends with them, but it's like I don't think we really need it. And even Drake said the same thing. So we're trying to figure out an easy way. Mind you, just like 2 minutes before even going out, entrance music is hitting. So I was like, well, fuck it, like I used to blow fire at guys in Japan. So, it's probably the easiest thing you can do and the big like shock value of it.
Right,
Well, like, every time I did in Japan, it was always in an arena. So I've never done it outside. So literally like the first fireball was cool, but as soon as I went to the right side and like, it's an open arena. So like the wind is blowing like the torch flame right by my face. And, and Shane is like, I'd say probably like 6-7 feet away from me. So it's like, gotta hurry this up. So it was just mistiming. So whenever I spit it out, like it caught my lips. And we already had like an accident with a water bottle. I had already filled it up. And I told the sound guys, like, don't let anybody touch this. Just don't let them touch it. This is Zippo fluid. So I told them, don't touch it. So Drake's music hits. And Drake's like, oh, I just need to get a sip of water. Get ready, man. So the sound guy's like, don't touch it, So Drake pours it over his head and like takes a swig of it. He's like, oh, that's not water. He's like, I just told you that. So I had to refill the bottle up. But the thing is, the Zippo fluid was already over the bottle. And it's like I said, entrance music is already hitting. So I don't have time to like re-prep. So anyway, when my lips were on fire, I went like this. And like I said, the bottle's already covered. So when I did that, hopefully the flame just got shot up and then like all on my shoulder and my neck. And the thing is, for me, it was just like, well, this fucking sucks. Like in my head, So I'm like, okay, well, I need to move away from the fans. And like I forged knives, so having my shirt on fire, like my upper torso on fire, it's like it's not the first time, sad to say. But as soon as I could like feel like my beard getting burned, it's like I just went for a little jog and I was slapping it out. And luckily when I went across the other ring, like it was already extinguished out. And it wasn't that bad, honestly. Like I wrestled for like another like 11 or 12 minutes and I finished the match.
Yeah.
But it was going to the hospital and going to the ICU, which was bad because man, they were just like tearing my skin off of like all the blisters and like I don't know how it looks on the pay-per-view, but if they got up close with my shoulder, my hand, you could see just the layers of skin like coming off. But you know, I pretty much was just no selling it. And I walked back to the back, sat down, and I asked for a beer, and then I debated if I wanted to go to the hospital or not.
God damn, and they ain't casting you as the fucking next Human Torch, and what the fuck,
Man.
Yeah, so I'm thinking like, do I want to go to the hospital? It's like, then I'm thinking in the back of my head, it's gonna be 2 weeks. 2 weeks, I'll be fully healed from this. It's been about 3 weeks.
Yeah, right. And you got what? It was like 2nd-degree burns.
Yeah, 1st degree and 2nd degree burns. But when I went to the ICU, they had this stuff that's called a zero form. And
Yep.
you know, they put it all over my skin, and they said that you have to keep it on, and when it starts to come up, you have to cut it off. Well, when I went to the burn unit, when I checked out of there, like I left the stuff on like they told me to. Like if you see the pictures from like TMZ, that yellow shit, that's what it is. But when I went to the burn unit, they were peeling it off, and they're like, you don't leave this on. You take it off every day. You know, so they pretty much gave you false information. They made the burns worse, and it turned them to 3rd-degree burns, especially on my left hand. It's because it's literally like my skin was starting to like heal up to it, and like they were having to pour water and try to peel it off. And yeah, it just made it worse, you know. And they were like, yeah, that's what you don't do. And then my neck tattoo got fucked up, but eventually I'm going to get it touched up. Got the ED.
Slack up, you know?
There you go.
Yeah. Slack owes me some ink now.
Yeah, fuck yeah, he does. Dude, as far as like, I mean, injury wise, where's that rank among some of your fucking worst injuries?
I mean, honestly, the worst thing I've ever felt in my life is my knee blowing out on me, honestly. You know, with all the lacerations and like the crazy stuff, like I could pretty much like downplay like any type of like, you know, deep cuts or punctures, but my knee, like when my meniscus was torn and like going between the bone joints, it just like it felt like someone took a dull butter knife and just stabbed me right behind my kneecap, you know. That was the worst because you can't walk, you can't do anything. And then once I learned like that thing that was bulging out my knee, if I could pop it back in place, I'm good. But I ended up going to Mexico and getting that fixed by the surgeons that were actually work for CMLL, doing all the surgeries for the wrestlers down there. So I mean, that's the worst pain I've ever been in. And I mean, I've had some pretty bad cuts and like things where like the matches had to end pretty early. Like last time I was at GCW, I actually formed a light tube that ended up severing an artery in my forearm, and then take it home really quick after that because it was like black blood pouring out. But as far as pain goes, it wasn't that bad. It's just the fact like so much blood is pouring out in a short amount of time, you know. But I always kind of pride myself on finishing matches, you know.
Yeah, man, that's like mentality.
Right, and it's like, yeah, it's so old school, but like, I'm not the first wrestler to have his head lit on fire. I'm just the first one to finish a match after. I was going to point that out.
Right? Hell yeah, he's got balls.
The first one that did it.
God damn, brother. Well, more power to you because I would have been running like a little bitch, like, ah, shit.
It's just getting
Put me out.
I mean, yeah, main thing is you don't want to freak out and like panic because it just it makes things worse in general, you know, like, just life in general, just bad situations. You know, you got to figure out how to get past that.
Yeah.
But hopefully, yeah, like when my lips were on fire, it's like, all right, well, this is going to be done. And then when it also was like, it's like, well, this fucking sucks. Now I need to move away from the people. I don't want anybody getting hurt. So that's what I did.
The reaction like backstage, man?
I don't, people panicking.
Yeah.
From my understanding, like, you know, I don't know. Some people probably wanted me to like go ahead and like not finish the match, but you know, I was good.
Right. Got to keep it going.
Brother goes real fucking hard in the paint.
Yeah. I just honestly wanted to sit down and have a beer. That's all I wanted.
Salute, man.
Yes.
Hey, going back to some of your early shit. So you're from Texas. You trained down at what was that? Texas Wrestling Academy. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, originally I trained at the Coastal States Wrestling Alliance in Orange, Texas, by a wrestler by the name of Steve Obery, who was trained by Buzz Sawyer. And like,
oh shit.
Yeah, Steve used to stretch the hell out of everybody, and I mean, it was old school training. So see who's going to last, try to run you off. So I learned a lot from him. Learned a lot of Japanese psychology and lucha libre from him. But then when I went to Rudy Boy Gonzalez and Shawn Michaels, that's where they just like polished me off of like really like psychology of how to put everything together, structured things.
I think that's one of the things about you too, as far as being a deathmatch wrestler, that helps you stand out above the pack. I mean, not to mention you've been doing it for a long fucking time though, is like, dude, your in-ring psychology, man. Like that shines above a lot of these fucking guys, and no disrespect to anybody else in the game, but I just think that's your extra oomph that puts you fucking over the top, man.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I wish there was more of that, because it would just make for better business in the United States, I believe. Like, if you go to Japan, like the guys in Japan that do death matches, like they all know how to wrestle. And I think a lot of things in the United States, guys lack actual training, and then they just jump into it because they think it's easy to get over in.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like, I broke in '99 where hardcore wrestling was becoming a little popular. It was already, barbed wire matches and death matches had already been done for years.
Right.
Like in Japan and Puerto Rico, or just even the old territory days. But for me to come in, it was popular. And then I was doing things with like Ring of Honor and trials with WWE.
Didn't you, did you get to work, because you were a part of the Carnage crew, right? In fucking ROH?
Yeah, I was.
With, didn't Dusty Rhodes, if I'm not mistaken, have something to do with you guys for a short amount of time? What was that like?
Yeah, he did. That was actually cool. Like, Dusty was really awesome. Like Dusty was one of those old school vets that would drop knowledge on you, which was like really badass, And that's kind of like the thing now, like I've noticed, and like talking to like younger wrestlers, like most of the veteran wrestlers don't drop stories or really give good in-depth lessons of like the road. You know what I mean? Which in my opinion, but Dusty was awesome, but anyway, like going back, like what I was talking about, we're doing Ring of Honor, doing tryouts with TNA, and I was already doing like hardcore death matches in Louisiana when I first started. But for me, it's like all the politics of like straight up wrestling, and so many guys trying to go to Japan. Like, well, the companies that I wanted to go for, it's like, you got to deal with this guy. This guy's a backstabber, and like there's politics, and this guy has it in with this. So it's like, for me, it's like, well, the hell of it, I'll go to Big Japan. You know what I mean? It's like nobody's trying to go there. Nobody's trying to go there, and that's one of those promotions everybody was like afraid of. You know what I mean? Yeah. So for me, it's like I pride myself on working for all the rebellious promotions you could think of all over the world. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the ones that were like, people have like a stink eye to them, but it's like, and you can't hang, you know what I mean? That's what it is, And realistically, you could take any like technical wrestler or high flyer, put me in the ring with them, and I'll school them. I pride myself on that.
Yeah, and that's cool too. Like, I think, XPW brings that. I mean, obviously the deathmatch shit, but they have some good wrestling in there too, and some good wrestlers. I mean, dude, one thing that's happening right now that kind of caught me off guard, I'm like, why the fuck didn't this happen before? I think it's a great fit. It's fucking Tessa Blanchard coming in.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. It's like doors get closed on wrestlers, and like, I mean, you need that controversy. You know what I mean? If everybody gets along, everybody's cookie cutter, like shit's fucking boring. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, just going back, like Rebirth, XPW, like if you watch me wrestle like Willie Mack or even like Rhino, it's like straight up wrestling matches. Yeah, I'm doing some deathmatch stuff, but also doing some regular wrestling, which if you watch me in Combat Zone Wrestling, like I did a lot of stuff like AR Fox, Adam Cole, Drew Gulak, Gacy. These guys are in AEW and WWE or NXT. So, had great matches with them, and like I could go with anybody that's on top. You know what I mean? It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
You know,
Dude,
I've just gotten typecast as like the deathmatch guy, but I always pride myself on being a hybrid wrestler.
Right, right.
You
And
know?
like I said, a couple minutes ago with, the psychology and all that stuff. I mean, in-ring acumen as well, dude. That really does, I think, set you apart. And it's, all the tryouts, all the places you've been, I mean, yeah, you fucking winner of the Tournament of Death and CZW and all that, the crazy deathmatch shit. But you've also, dude, I mean, you had, what was it, last year? Has it been a year already, year or two?
Dark.
It was, yeah, you and Shane Mercer, right? On fucking Dark. How did that
That was
about?
dope.
I mean, that's just like reaching out to Moxley, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I got reconnected back with him doing Joey Janela's Spring Break. I hadn't seen Moxley, I think, like over 13 or 14 years,
Wow.
Probably since like CZW or some shit, right?
Yeah, easily. Originally, like I was supposed to win the title from Moxley, funny enough. But he got signed, which was cool, he went to FCW. But just reconnecting back in with him, and then it's like ultimately it's like there's something new on TV. So it's like you need to show that spotlight of still that you're active, you know what I mean? It's kind of like that out of sight, out of mind, So I mean, it was cool in some regards of like seeing a lot of people I know. But end of the day, like going out and jobbing out in like less than like 2.5 minutes doesn't really do anything for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if anything, it just shows like, hey, I can still do TV style wrestling. It's not hard. You know what I mean? It's actually, in my opinion, a lot easier than going on the indies and doing international wrestling or going to Japan or Mexico, where you're going anywhere from like 30 to 45 minutes. And then you're working with somebody who doesn't necessarily speak English, So it's easy in that regards of like, you got 2 minutes or you got 4 minutes and you got from, stepping out of the curtain from bell time to, when the bell ends, So a lot of times your time gets cut, but I mean, that's easy to me. Like that's way easier than you got to go out there and do blood and guts or whatever it may be. You know what I mean?
Outlaw Mucho.
I mean, I'm not downplaying. Maybe people say I'm downplaying, but I mean, I'll never discredit anybody on a WWE schedule because if you're wrestling every day, like that shit's rough,
Yeah.
But for me, as far as structuring a match in like 2 to 5 minutes, that's easy. You keep it basic. That's what it is.
Well, dude, and you bring up Moxley too, and that's one of those matches I'm sitting there thinking like, holy fuck, like you and Moxley on like, one of these fucking like maybe like the Bloodsport, Barnett's Bloodsport or something, dude. Like, holy shit, that would be fucking awesome. I know Tony's allowed to work with GC Dub. Why not fucking XP Dub?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's like Moxley had actually told Lauderdale that he wanted to do that match, and even Joey Janela said that he wanted to work with me in singles matches. So, Brett's telling me, yeah, we're good to go in like the next like 4 or 5 months, whatever. Pretty much just, this bullshit. And then I was asking him, 5, 6 months passed. And I keep asking him, we're changing direction. I was like, man, you're full of shit, dude. You know what I mean? I'm one of those guys that would never listen to Brett's BS. I've known him for so long where I know this is bullshit, but that is one of those matches that needs to happen. Both of those matches need to happen, and like if Mox is down to come to like XPW, that's cool. I'm sure if he would be willing to, you know what I mean? But
I think he'd probably be willing, but would he be allowed?
Yeah, I don't know. Probably not. I don't know.
Tony Combat, if you got a fat fucking sack of cocaine, I'll fucking let him come down. Look at a couple of those promos.
Dump them out.
Yeah.
Dump them out. We'll stock business.
I don't know. Everybody in wrestling these days are way overly sensitive. So
seems like that. Yeah.
Man.
Way too sensitive.
Yeah. And that's something like, hey man, there's a time and place for, like, I guess to rag on shitty people or put them in their place for whatever. But that with how huge the internet is and with holding our phones in our hands and all these dumb motherfuckers think they have the power or some sort of power in their voice and their opinion, which they don't. And they got to fucking try to make everybody else's life worse. Like, can you imagine if we had that shit in like the 90s, dude? Everybody would be fucking canceled, dude. Come on.
I mean,
try to cancel ECW.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, in the '90s, you know how many fist fights would be breaking out? Like, you know, it's like, oh, you want to talk shit online? Well, here you go. You get your ass kicked. But
True.
you know,
Talk shit.
I mean,
Get
it's
hit.
just funny because it's all in the United States. You don't see this shit going on in like Europe. You don't see it in Mexico. You don't see it in Japan. You don't see it in Australia, Germany.
Mm-mm.
It's just the shit's dumb. You know what I mean? In my opinion, it's really stupid.
Well, before I
It's
get
basically-
I might
it's
get
basically-
canceled for this. We're a bunch of pussies over here.
I was about to say, it's
Not
a bunch of
us.
pussies.
Everybody.
Right? Yeah. I was just about to say, it's a bunch of pussies that just, you know, they think their opinions matter, but at the end of the day, it's like nobody cares.
No, it reminds me of my old band Decrypt. We had a shirt on the front. It was called Progressive Holocaust, and on the back, really big, fuck your opinions. Fuck them, you know? They don't like
mean,
what
that's
we're
like-
about.
I
You
mean,
know,
that's
do
like the
something
metal
else.
scene in general, and like the hardcore scene is always about speak your mind and don't care what anybody thinks about you, you know?
Yeah.
Our mentality hasn't changed, you know? People want it to change, but at the end of the day, it doesn't, you know?
No. And that's
We can agree to disagree, or you know, you can have your opinions, and at the end of the day, it's like you're not going to change mine, so whatever.
yeah. And here's the other thing that people fail to realize too is we can totally disagree on something, but we can still totally be fucking cool to each other, you know? We can still totally
Yeah,
be fucking
seriously.
friends.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I always. I mean, my friends are like from all different walks of life, and like the fact that we're all different is what makes things interesting. You know, like I said earlier, it's like if everybody agrees on the same shit, it's like, man, that's boring. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, okay, like you already know everything, you know, and you're all on the same level. Like, I don't know, seems very cult-like, you know. So
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
It's a fucking horrible spot. Hey, right now, I want to throw a couple promotions at you. And I'd like for you to just give me some of like your fondest memories of each promotion that you've taken part of. So I'll start with
Okay.
IWA Mid-South.
Working for him was cool. You know, IWA is what really got me back into working back in the United States. You know, yeah.
What about
Um,
NWA Wildside?
oh, great. Bill Barnes was awesome. That whole crew was sweet. You know,
you down there
like
with AJ?
everybody- I wasn't there with AJ. AJ, we already just got signed, or he had already been signed with NWA TNA for a while. But he would occasionally come in for like their big shows, you know. But everybody on that roster was great, you know, and like I learned a lot. You know, my paydays weren't great, but the fact of the matter is I was going there and learning TV time and learning how to actually put like matches together. Like I was saying earlier, like if you got like, you know, a 2-minute match, a 4 minutes, a 5 minutes, you only have this much time to get this much in, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So I learned a lot, and even just like internally knowing that clock of like, okay, they're saying we're going 10 minutes, the match has started, okay, we're staying on time, and like already knowing that it's been around 10 minutes or 6 minutes, you know. I've always been really good at sticking with time, you know.
Like a shot clock, brother. Like a fucking shot clock. What about,
100%.
let me throw this one, Apache Pro.
Ooh.
Oh, Apache Pro was cool. You know, like that's back in the Japan days. You know, it was always cool working for Win Kanamura. He was a good boss. He was crazy, but I mean, he was a good boss. like, he was definitely crazy.
Well, dude, and you got to wrestle fucking Jun Kasai, who is another just absolute fucking legend, dude. Where if you like, especially fans of that
Legend.
hardcore deathmatch style, man. Like,
Yeah.
what was,
Well, I mean,
what
the
was
cool
that
thing
experience
is
like?
great. I mean, that was my rival for the longest time.
Yeah.
The cool thing is, like with Apache Pro, is like we were there was second time to ever do the razor boards, razor board deathmatch. Was actually at Apache Pro against Kasai, so that was cool to be part of, like, you know, deathmatch history. But Kasai's crazy, you know what I mean? Kasai is one of those guys that is so creative, and he's legitimately nuts. And it's amazing he's still going with like all the crazy stuff he's done, you know.
For
Jumping
sure.
off the top of Oregon Hall, that's pretty high up there, man. That's easily like 25, 30 feet up, you know, and he's done it so many times. Like, you're never going to see me go up there. Like, I mean, I've gone up there, and I've thought about it. And at the end of the day, it's like, man, the Japanese wrestlers don't really catch. So I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, if you watch most of my matches, like doing dives in Japan, like they rarely ever caught me. So I was just like, I don't know if they were fucking with me or what, but yeah, they go up.
Catch nobody.
I'm gonna jump on you guys from here. Like, yeah, I don't really trust them. Anything that's like 15 foot or 20 foot, maybe. You know, I've done some crazy bumps.
Yeah, fuck, I'll jump off of like.
Well, hell, Ring of Honor, I did a 450 off the cage to the floor. So, you know, it is what it is.
Well, there you go. There's another one. Ring of Honor. Some of your fondest memories of that.
I mean, Ring of Honor, it's like bittersweet. I feel like they could have done a lot more with me, but I didn't really get along with the promoter.
I got it at the time.
I mean, Gase Mikulski was like the main guy.
Yeah,
he was the booker. I mean, I was cool with like Rob, and I was cool with what's the other guy's name? Was it Terry? Like he had bought it out, but I don't know for whatever reason.
Sinclair?
No. Like I was.
Oh, Kerry Silkin.
Yeah, Kerry. Yeah, Kerry was cool, and Doug was cool, the camera guy. I got along with those guys great. But Gabe, for whatever reason, like had too many guys on his plate, and like me being from Texas, it's a flight, and I mean, honestly, like I said, Phil, it's like bittersweet. Like they could have done a lot more with me. I mean, Delirious brought me back in, like I think like 13, 14 years later, wrestled Roderick Strong in a TV match.
The TV title, right?
Yeah, TV title match. And like, you know, the crowd was 50-50. So I'm thinking like, okay, this is my chance to really show something and just straight up wrestle. And this will get me a spot. And like, never got that call back. So I'm just like, you know, what the hell of it. You know what I mean? I've gotten pretty frustrated with like just American wrestling companies. We're dealing with that bullshit. You know, I've never been in on the in crowd type. You know what I mean? I'm cool with everybody, but yeah, I'm cool with everybody, but I don't suck up to anyone, you know?
Right.
Yeah, no need to politic.
No, and that shit's everywhere, dude. I mean, that's even like Bodie and I do fucking underground death metal and shit. Like that's, you know, certain places or guys will book you, certain guys won't, and they'll be cool as fuck to you. But it's just like, nah, I'm not gonna
exactly.
This big festival that's 20
we've been friends for years, but you won't book my band. All right, I see. I see why. Just because we talk about poop and other stuff.
I mean, the thing is, if you have like an international fan base and a national wide fan base, and then it's like the crowd's 50-50, and I haven't been here in 14 years, and like your TV champion is getting booed out, but also like they're chanting his name and chanting mine. Like, come on, dude, there's money there. End of the day, the whole point is to make money. You know what I mean?
Speaking of making money, was there money to be made against Maven on Heat back in the day when you? What the fuck was that? How many times did you wrestle for WWE? Was it just that one off?
No, I wrestled there 2 times, but I went there 4 times. But the first time I went there, I did Sunday Night Heat. And the funny thing is, the reason why they even gave me like a match is because I had a long goatee. Originally, they were going to make me a security guard. And then like Johnny Ace and Sergeant Slaughter was like, yeah, you don't look like a wrestler, or you don't look like a security guard. You look more like a wrestler.
Look like a wrestler, kid.
Yeah, so Sergeant Slaughter's like, how would you like to wrestle Maven on Sunday Night Heat? And I was like, yeah, sure.
And you were like, who? Sean Mooney?
No, I knew who he was. But I mean, the cool thing is, so like we were actually curtain jerk on the taping, but when they aired it, they put us on semi-main, you know, on TV. So that was kind of cool, you know, because even Michael Hayes was like, was telling Maven, he's like, that's the best match you've ever had, like honestly. And Michael Hayes was like, you know, are you booked for SmackDown tomorrow in Houston? And I told him no, and he's like, well, I promise you, if you show up to Houston, I'll get you a match. And sure enough, I went there, you know, and wrestled Jeremy Lopez in a dark match before Velocity, which was cool. Then I went to Japan and I lost like a ton of weight. And then, you know, I went back and man, I think I was weighing like 235 when I did tryouts. And then when I went back, I was like close to like 200 or 195. Like that's how much weight I lost even in Japan. So they didn't give me a match. And I was like, well, I'm just going to focus on Japan. Because that was the most money I was ever making, you know, and like I knew my full on schedule. And indie life is rough, you know. You don't know. I mean, half the promoters are like back then they're cheapskates. They'll say pay you something, but they always cut you down, or like they don't pay you what they say they're going to. So Japan, it was like guaranteed money. So focused on that.
What I mean, the culture out in Japan, like, how is that for you? You know, some guys, a lot of people I hear just really take to it because it's like a really clean, respectful fucking place.
Yeah, right. Well, the first time I went there, every time I went was for 3 months. I did series over there. I didn't go over there for tours. I hated it, because I was such a picky eater, and like I was eating right. I wouldn't eat it, I wouldn't even touch it, like that's just like I'd already tried sushi like in the States and I've gotten sick from it. So I was just like, anytime things were offered to me over there, like I wouldn't touch it, But my second time going over there, so you got to bite the bullet and get past all that little picky bullshit. So I pretty much eat anything, So if you look, like the first time I went there, like I was in really good shape. And then towards the end of that tour, you see I lost a lot of weight and I come back and I start bulking back up because, I just bit the bullet and was eating whatever,
Fuck yeah. Lifted. What's your like workout regimen like? You just lifting or like?
Well, yeah, then it's like I was just eating high protein and like strength training mostly,
Right.
And later on it was like literally they don't care about bodybuilders over there. They just want guys to be bulky, ugly gaijins. And like even the history of Japan, like wrestling is cool because they base it off like the war, which isn't cool, but the psychology of like the Americans coming over and beating up the Japanese, and then finally when it's that big matchup, like we did it with Kasai, for 3 years, I beat him and beat him and beat him, and then like finally he was like, if I don't win this tournament, or if I don't beat Masada, I'm retiring from wrestling. So it's always that underdog story that Japan obviously never got in the war, but honestly, if you go back in the history of things, like Pearl Harbor, like that's bad, but end of the day, it's like bombing Japan was really, really bad. Like
yeah, well, yeah.
The Hiroshima, I've been over there to the government building that's still standing there, and it's just like you still see people that have the effects of the radiation that are still suffering from that. And it's like, God, man, you instantly feel like shit, that's where you're from the States. And like, because when you go over there, people are so nice and like genuine, like, it's just kind of, I don't know, rough, I guess the best way to put it.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that too. I never even like really would think about that. And how could I,
I'd feel shitty.
You know,
I'd feel shitty with, you're
yeah,
welcoming here and what we did, our country did long ago, it's like, well, don't judge me on that, but yeah, I'd feel shitty totally.
Gaijin,
Yeah. I mean, the thing is crazy because like going over there for so many years, it's like the guys you're working with end up becoming like your family. And then a lot of people, it was crazy because like a lot of my friends in Japan, like they would remind me of my friends in the United States. There's the Japanese versions of them. And like, they become your family, and then like you become really close and you learn the history of things. And it's like, fuck, that's pretty shameful. You know what I mean? But
how tough is like the communication barrier though? Like initially, like going over there, because I can't imagine. I've been to Mexico
especially wrestling
times, and I thought I knew a little bit of something, and I ain't claiming to know anything Japanese. I don't even know how to say pussy motherfucker shit. I don't know how to say any of that, but I do in Espanol.
Of course.
And down there, it didn't get me fucking anywhere. I can only imagine being in Japan where you don't understand fucking anything. What was that like for you?
I mean, the thing is, it was rough like the first several times going there, but then you learn. But it's not as hard as you would think, because they study English and lower grades. So a lot of people have like broken English. I mean, the funny thing is, I could find my way around Japan easy, but if I go to England where they speak English, I can't understand what these people are saying. And I can't.
Bad teeth, bad breath. From what
all that Cockney slang.
It's hard, man. Like I would ask for like directions on train stations, and their accent is so thick. Like it sounds like they're gargling words, and like I just couldn't understand them.
Balls,
but then I can go to Japan. I could go to Japan and ask somebody for directions, and like in broken English, understand them fine. So like
that tells you everything right there.
Have to go figure. Like.
You still keeping up with anything out there as far as any like New Japan or NOAH, anything like that?
I mean, no. I mean, I pretty much fell off like paying attention to wrestling like when the pandemic hit. Like I stopped watching a lot of things, and like a lot of stuff wasn't even running, you know. And then I wasn't going to Japan, so I wasn't really too concerned about anything that's going on over there now. Right now, I'm getting back in strides of things, but I'm more or less like focused on what I'm doing, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can even tell you like what's going on with like Freedoms or Noah or New Japan or anything, you know. I catch little bits and here and there, but you know, I don't follow it.
That's about how we are too. So it's all good. It's just
too many wrestling companies, not enough time.
Yeah, there's so much, man.
Yeah,
it's fucking silly.
Yeah, there's the market's oversaturated, like for sure.
It's like podcasts, like, you know, the two people are listening to the show, you know, 2,200. The two people are listening to this fucking show and not knowing how good we could rip this motherfucker up, you know, because there's a million other shows out there where it's like, hello, Masada, how are you tonight?
I was just about to say, I mean, podcasts are all different, you know. This one's like, y'all are cool, you know, but I've been on some podcasts that's boring as hell. Been on them, the guy who interviewed me didn't even know who I was. And it's like, why'd you even like judge me and put me on this? But
speaking of horseshit, though, let's segue a little bit, dude, because you brought up the forging, and dude, I looked in, what is it, Exiled Appeal? You do like
Exiled Artifacts, yeah. Exiled Artifacts. Yeah.
Artifacts,
So
yeah. I mixed up your fucking email, forgive me.
Oh no, you're good, because I do have an Exiled Appeal. That's like I had two. Like originally I had like Exile Appeal, like appealing, but then I was like, you know, Exiled Artifact sounds way better. So I went with
that. Looks dope. All the skulls and shit I've seen and the blades you're fucking making. Like, take us through that. I got a buddy that does some shit, and he's got an anvil. Forgot he fucking named it. I don't know. It's like some Van Halen shit or whatever. But yeah, he's got a name for his anvil. And he does all kinds of crazy shit, like forging stuff. I got some bottle openers and, you know, shit with skulls on the end. Like, what's the kind of shit you're making?
Well, I mean, I love being creative, you know, and I love when like people hit me up and they want something made, and then like it's funny because I can literally look at a picture online, like a knife or just anything, and I could figure out how to make it, you know. So I pride myself, and it's fun. I enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
But it's always cool when, you know, people have like custom orders and you know, take their ideas and like to make it like a real item, you know, a real weapon, you know.
Have you ever made a
But I've been making things. I've never had, but I'm sure I could.
Or a sickle?
I've made tons of sickles. I made a lot of comic blades.
Yeah.
Like made a lot of stuff like Mr. Pogo-esque, you know, like, you know, huge blades coming out of the hand, the sickle, and those are always fun to do. But yeah, I make katanas, you know, any type of like kukri knives, bowie knives. Bowies are probably my favorites to make.
Yeah, those look badass, dude. I see some of those fucking pictures on your shit, man, dude. Hell yeah.
Well, I like it. I like integrating like the different things I make. I like taking like the knives and like I do bone carvings as well, and actually make like the handles out of bone and carving them up, and then using like, you know, the skull statue as like a knife display. So I always like, you know, integrating everything together. So, but also I do leather work as well. You know, I'm actually wearing one of my custom, you know. So
sweet.
Hell yeah. You tan your own hides?
No, I don't do that. No.
Sorry, man.
I go to Tandy Leather. I mean, I'll dye them and, you know, stain them, but yeah.
Throw them together like fucking Leatherface, making weapons and fucking skin, you know.
Aprons.
Oh yeah. Well, the cool thing is, like, I was already making stuff before I even got into wrestling. So what got that itch back for me making things was being in Japan and like off time, and then like, well, hell, you know, I can make this stuff and fans will buy it.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, hell, if I'm doing it here, you know, I pretty much do it anywhere else, you know, I'm just making an actual business out of it, you know. So, you know, it's always fun to learn new things, you know.
For sure. Speaking of learning new things, man, let's learn about what Masada's into in the music world, because we're all fucking huge fans of music. We live it, we do it, we breathe it. Sometimes I shit it and puke it out, you know,
constantly.
Where are you coming from musically?
I mean, to go back to like roots of things, like Crowbar's like one of my favorite bands. When I was like first started in wrestling, I used to bounce for Goat Whore when they would come.
No shit.
Oh, right on.
I know Ben Falgos.
Yeah, just how I became friends with Ben and Sammy, and you know, I was big into Skinless. I've met Sherwood.
Fuck yeah.
A lot of the
Party with
relapse
Sherwood.
bands. Oh yeah, like Savalic Carnage.
Dude,
you know,
yeah, man. I had so many good hangs, like with Cephalic at Fireside Bowl in Chicago.
Full
dude.
Terror Assault.
Back when they were like, this is like 2001, and I was AOL chatting with John Merriman, the drummer, who's fucking dude.
That dude's
Lindsay,
insane,
dude, and Josh, the guitar player. Fucking all those dudes were awesome as hell. We're partying with Gorgasm and shit. Like, and this is when Dave Colross was playing fucking drums for Gorgasm. Bleeding Profusely, I think was the album.
Yep.
But dude, that some good fucking times. I was just hanging out with them. I was like, man, going in their van, and I was fresh out of high school, and I'm like, these guys are like gods to me, you know. And I'm just getting into like the death metal scene and playing in my own band, and like, as soon as I get there, it's, come in the van, dude. It's like, what the all right. And I get in the van, then we're just blazing bongs and shit. I'm like, hey, you know that cover of Jesus Saves you guys play? Yeah, fucking play it tonight, please. It's like, all right. I thought he was just fucking with me, you know, blowing me off. And sure enough, they ended with that shit, and it was like one of the heaviest moments of my life.
Yeah. So I mean, from like Southeast Texas, like close to border Louisiana, acid bath was like really popular.
Dude.
Acid bath was huge. But anytime like bands like Cannibal Corpse would come to Houston, that area, like I always go see them. And then you always learn about new bands like Pissing Razors, like they're from El Paso.
Yeah, the Pissing Razors. Holy shit, I haven't heard this in a long time, dude. Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's the thing that sucks about music, though. Is like a lot of bands, they have like badass albums, like maybe 2 or 3, and you never hear from them again. You know, that's what sucks.
Yeah.
But like lately, man, I've just been listening to like Lionheart. I've been listening more to like hardcore music of just like that attitude of like disdain, I guess you could say. But I was always like a big Pantera fan, you know, Down, you know.
You damn right you were, man. Crank up that fucking bass. I always got to drop the fill when people bring it up.
Well, man, like, you know, where I'm originally from, Beaumont, it's like New Orleans is 5 hours away. So we used to go to House of Stock all the time and like see Phil there, like, which was cool.
You ever see Trent Reznor out and about? Because I used to work with a Guitar Center, and he said he like, not apprentice, but what's like the shit you do where you work for free or in school or whatever? Is it apprentice? Internship, yeah. At Trent Reznor's studio in Louisiana. I was like, get the fuck out of here. He was a real weird dude too, so I kind of believed him.
I've never seen him though. Yeah, I've never seen him around. Because I like when I would go to Louisiana or go to New Orleans, like I would go to House of Shock because every year was different, and then shortly after it was over, I would head back. You know what I mean? I didn't really spend too much time out there, but like it was cool because you never know who you're gonna see. You know what I mean? It's like, and that's like my late teens, you know, from like 17, 18, 19. I was still early parts of like wrestling career, but I was still really heavily into music.
So you ever kick it with Phil?
No, never, man. Like I've kicked it with Ben and Sammy, you know, more so than anything. They come to Texas all the time.
You kind of give me like your look now. You give me like super joint ritual era like vibes. Like,
well, the funny thing is, like, where I'm originally from, like Southeast Texas, like that's how all the metalheads dress. You know, it's like that blue collar, like labor jobs, like life sucks type mentality.
Yeah, dude. I'm in Northwest Indiana, dude, like Chicagoland. I get it.
Yeah, for sure.
What about Pantera? Did you ever get to see them live? Or what do you think about? Have you seen any of the live shit with them and Charlie and fucking Zach?
I've seen a little bit of it. It's cool, like they're doing that. It just sucks, like it's not all the original members for obvious reasons. But I got to see Pantera like live at Ozfest, and then I had the chance to go see them with Morbid Angel and Soulfly, but I missed it. Like I had a show there.
I saw that
weeks ago.
I was at that. I went to that tour in Madison, Wisconsin. I went to that shit. Shit fucking rocked. Oh yeah, dude.
But they're cool as hell live, man. Like,
it was insane. I always said, dude, they're hardest commercial band of the like 90s. You know, like there was nothing like heavier commercially, and really, I mean,
it's lasted through time. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any bands now that have come out recently that are even close to that.
No.
That same, you know, like Pantera, like Morbid Angel, heavy go fuck yourself mentality. You know what I mean? They're just it's not, you know.
Heavy and sharp because
Right.
dude,
Like when Trendkill came out.
Riffs sound like razors.
Yeah, when Trendkill came out, I thought the world was ending. I was like, Jesus. Shit was so fucking heavy. And the tone he had, the tone that Dime had was just like, God damn. And then Vinnie Paul on the drums, Jesus Christ, I thought my house was going to crumble. Like, you know, just the thickness. I was like, just Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I love that album.
So that's a cool thing too, XPW, and dude, you're the fucking champ. You're running. You're the face that fucking might be a little burnt, but you're still running the place.
Right. I mean, that was a cool thing. Like, so I mean, breaking into the business in '99, it's like, you know, obviously I was an ECW fan and XPW started, so I was a fan of like deathmatch and hardcore wrestling. So I was a fan of like XPW, you know. So it was one of those places like, you know, when ECW shut down, I was like, well, I mean, I guess I'll try to get a job there, but then they ended up closing. So it's cool. Like when Colin Delaney like hit me up and he was like, yeah, talking to Rob Black about XPW coming back. Are you interested? It's like, yes. Like it's like not even a hesitation, you know. But it's cool.
And they're doing a lot of cool shit. They got the, you know, we're sitting here rapping about fucking, you know, heavy metal and music, and they just started like that program, if you will, whatever you want to call it. They're like sponsoring bands. And some of these guys are like homeboys, you know, are fucking cool as shit. Like the dudes from Internal Bleeding.
Yep.
Like fuck, they got the dwarves on there and shit. Like, fuck, man.
Well, if you think about like the early XPW days, you had Jonathan Davis, you had, you know, Slayer there, like a bunch of different like heavy metal bands and like mainstream bands. So it is definitely cool that, you know, they're keeping it true to like the hardcore like metal scene and bringing that back out, you know.
Yeah,
I don't think any other promotions are doing that, to be honest with you.
No, none that I can really think of.
Yeah,
so,
Rob had to stop using that same old Metallica, you know. Only so many times a brother can hear wow, 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 wow.
Oh no.
That definitely, we bust Rob's balls all the time about that. I was like, dude, come on.
You know what? We had Kat on the show. I got a bunch of Metallica shirts I inherited from my guitar player. I'm like, man, I'll never wear these. But she was talking about how they both like Metallica a lot. I was like, here you go. There's a bunch of large shirts. I got like 10 of them.
I mean, hell, Schlack's in the band. I mean, he could come up with some like, you know, different theme music, but
for sure.
I guess for now, let's stick with Metallica.
All right. You just like named all these other dope ass bands, heavy ass bands, and like some legendary anti-scene too, man. Fucking Jeff Clinton and them boys, dude. That's fucking awesome. You know, the dwarves throw some fucking want to fuck you up and get high on like a quick promo. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I think the thing is too, what they're talking about doing is eventually actually having concerts and metal shows go on. You know what I mean? At the same time.
Dude, that'd be so sick.
Yeah.
Have more like that old school like party atmosphere of like being at a metal show. And, the scene. The two go hand in hand together. I mean,
yes, they do.
Sada, we've been trying to tell these motherfuckers for 234 episodes.
Preaching.
God, it seriously is, man. I mean, life on the road and like hit different venues and, you know, dealing with shady ass promoters, you know.
Yep, like, exactly.
You know, it goes hand in hand.
Sound not working.
Yeah. Dude, so I mean, you've come to make like the skewer in the deathmatch wrestling, like, I mean, that's like fucking hand in hand with you now. And I mean, you see it a lot, you know, guys like Atticus Koger and there's a million other dudes that are doing this shit. But I guess the point of my question is, what's your favorite shit to use? And does it really matter if it's just like, you know, you try to bring the ring psychology into it as far as like, you know, what's the story about? Do I need to bring in fucking skewers or any of that? What's like your favorite weapon?
I mean, the skewers was obviously like my favorite weapon. It was my trademark for the longest time. Atticus is the only wrestler I've actually given like full on permission to even use them, you know? So anybody else you see doing it, it's like, I don't even know these fuckers, you know, they don't ask me. You know, whenever I see them or, you know, we'll have words, I guess, at some point. But, you know, it's just, you know, be original, come up with your own shit. But the thing is, like, with skewers, like, before for me, it was always used, like, in a dire need. Like, if I couldn't finally beat the guy, this is like, you know, my equalizer to beat someone.
But
And then
not just
lately,
doing it every time, right? Like giving it.
I mean, not necessarily. Like I always did it like with storytelling and a reason
right.
behind it. But then lately, it's kind of like since everyone else is doing it, then I need to do it just to stay relevant. That hey, I'm the guy that actually brought these to the table, brought them to the dance. But I'm always innovating them. Like I'm always doing different things with them. Like my finisher is like sticking a guy in the head and have an open chair, slide kick it into them, and a knee it right in their face.
Yes.
I mean, that's like coming up with ideas like that is just being brutal. You know what I mean? Of just being like as dirty of a fighter as you possibly can be. And then I would do spots on tag matches. I would think more of like almost like a horror film or like a Jackie Chan style movie where you stab one guy and like this dude's attacking you, you rip it out of the dude's back, and like you do something to him, you stab in the other dude's head. I've done stuff like that too. You know what I mean? But the whole thing that's cool about Truth is just to prove the fact, like, and even deathmatch wrestling in general is to prove that wrestling is legitimately real.
Yeah.
But
yeah, we don't drop F-bombs on this show.
No way.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing is, it's just gotten to the point where like everything is like oversaturated, and then you see guys that are like, this dude sucks. Like if he didn't have this, like he's not even over as it is, and he's trying, and it just looks like crap. You know what I mean? But
yeah, like
that. I guess it is what it is.
ICP guy, remember? Fuck this shit. God, I hated seeing that dude every day.
Guy.
He looked like Booger from Revenge of the Nerds.
Superhuman, is that his name?
Oh yeah, I was trying not to say his name because I think we just gave him a cheap pop.
Probably.
But anyway,
it's okay. That's what we're all about. Cheap pops and back rubs.
Dude, so whoever wins
like
this...
I always like coming up with new stuff. You know what I mean? Like I brought Gusset Place into death matches. I'm the guy that brought Cinder Blast into being popular in death matches as well. Like, so there's a lot of things that I brought to the Mousetraps. I didn't bring them in, but I mean, realistically, those things are nothing. You know what I mean? Really? They're not bad. Rat traps would be worse, but
there's a difference. I just got sticky shit at work to catch the fucking rats and mice at my job. It's I find them in the morning squealing like, and I'm like, hey, go take your shit out. I can't handle it. It's cruel.
Right. Well, I mean, Mousetrap is more annoying than anything, but I've only done a match once with those. It's not my forte. But I mean, it's a cool visual, I guess, but I don't know. I think rat traps would be worse. It's those suckers. Mousetraps are more annoying than anything.
What about the salt? Salt in the wound, man.
Salt blades and stuff like that. I mean, I've only a handful of times messed with anything like that. I've always liked the Mr. like Pogo like era of like deathmatch wrestling with the sickle blades and like the crazy drills and stuff that he would bring. It was always crazy.
No, that shit. I'm talking about salt. Like salt in the fucking,
salt. Oh, my bad. I thought you said saw blades.
Yeah. I know it doesn't sound as brutal, but
no. I mean, the thing is, I've done one match in Big Japan where we use salt and lime, and I mean that stuff sucks because I mean you see
a giant tortilla to wrap you up in afterwards. I ain't interested.
I don't think fans really. I mean, they know it sucks, but it doesn't click how bad it actually hurts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I bet. Yeah. What's it's a round disc that's got like needles on it. I see them get put in people's heads and then I got to pry it out after the match.
Oh, yeah.
What the fuck are those things called?
Those things are Kinza. So what they do is you can get them here in the States, but what it is for flower arrangements. Those needles actually for, you stick the flowers in, it holds them up. But Kobayashi is the one that made those popular.
Yeah.
But those things do suck. They get lodged in you, it's a pain in the ass to get out.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, I've seen them videos.
Too. It's like
the pliers and they're just yanking. Guy's skin is coming off his scalp. It's like, God damn, dude.
I mean, people will think it's funny, but I think the thing that sucks the most is like thumbtacks. Thumbtacks suck in your knees, your elbows.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the worst. People don't realize it. Fans don't realize those things break off all the time,
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Yep. I've done the thumbtack
fucking
thing.
Cheeks, like in the cheeks. That would fucking. Woo.
Oh. That's not fun.
Break off my foot. Nah, it's not fun at all. But I've had them break off my forehead, and you have to take pliers and like really push on your skin, try to get a potential and pop them out.
So as we wind down here, Masada, I got to ask you this. No matter which one of these jabrones fucking, you guys come on the show, you're just jabrones right now, right? We're keeping it kayfabe, right? Between Thom Latimer and Alex Colon, whoever wins that shit, I mean, does it even really matter?
I mean, I'm going to go for my belts. Like, I want my title belts back. You know, I don't know really. I mean, Cat wants, Latimer to be the champion. He looks the part, but end of the day, it's like whatever. Been in the ring with both of them. I've beaten both of them, so I don't really care. I'm just ready to go back.
That's right.
So,
yeah, sounds like a triple threat in the making.
Yeah,
but do it in Orlando so I can go and watch it live because I'm like an hour and a half away from Orlando.
Well, aren't they? Isn't XPW? I think they're doing something.
September 16th. I think I saw the announcement. I'm like, yeah, I gotta go.
Yeah, that's in the workings. I mean, there's a lot of things in the workings, like XPW going to Canada and Japan and Mexico, Texas, and it's gonna be great.
That's awesome.
Fuck yeah, dude. One more thing I gotta ask you about real quick. Drake Younger, who is, I guess, now retiring because of fucking injuries and shit, and just real quick, you guys are probably tight as fuck. You got any thoughts on that situation, man?
I mean, I think honestly, Drake will come back. You know what I mean? It's in his blood. Went to visit him in the hospital, and he's saying he's completely done. He said that he had, I think, 2 of his vertebrae that were already like cracked or fractured, and he just never knew. And then finally that third one popped. But to his credit, that happened in the first match of the tournament, and he still won out. I mean, I don't know. I'll pick his brain more, but I know he's going back in the gym. He's hitting weights, so he's saying he's done, but I don't know. It's kind of one of the things. It's like, how many times was Onita done? How many times was Terry Funk done?
Terry Funk, he's gonna be like animated in his casket, like someone's gonna
exactly. I got one more
match.
I got one more.
And then they're gonna have a track to play. Holy shit! Holy shit! When everybody has a fucking heart attack from this corpse coming back.
Yeah, right.
Best spot ever.
The funny thing is, TMZ, like when they messaged me about the whole fire BS, they were like, "Are you gonna retire?" And it's like, hell no, that never even crossed my mind. It's like, I'm ready to get back in the ring, like.
Yeah, and I mean, and just from looking at you too, I mean, dude, your whole fucking thing was on fire, dude. Like I said, Human Torch, flame on. What the
I mean,
fuck?
you gotta really live close. I mean, like, it's like faint, like scarring. It's like putting cocoa butter on like every day, and my shoulder on my left got probably the worst in my left hand, but I'm fine. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
Just
like I said, like. When they're like, you got to continue to wrestle, like, yeah, I'm like,
of course.
What kind of stupid ass question is that? It's like,
it's TMZ, bro. It's TMZ.
Could be. I already had things in the works, like going back to Japan, Australia. It's like, you think I'm gonna let this stop me? That's stupid,
Australia, man. Good luck out there. The land of a million ways to die.
Oh yeah.
Counter every fucking dingo or
all
spider.
Kinds of crazy, snakes, spiders, all kinds of weird
scorpions,
stuff.
Fucking big ass mammals in the woods.
Big ass spiders living in your house.
I seen the fucking Matt Hardy shit. I know they like the box.
Well, being from Texas, there's a lot of crazy shit too. So,
for sure.
Oh yeah.
Probably not close to Australia, but yeah, there's some crazy stuff.
Fuck yeah, bro.
Black Widow spiders.
Oh, dude, I've caught one down actually in Mississippi. I caught one. I put it in a Pepsi bottle as a kid, and fucking then on the way back it got lost. Right? Motherfuckers threw it out on me.
They threw it on the side of the road, lost.
Like, hey man.
Yep.
I remember one time I was fishing with a buddy of mine, and there was a cinder block by the river, and like he flipped over the cinder block, and like I was like, "Dude, that's a black widow," and he's like, "No, we don't have black widows here." I was like, "Oh, really?" Dude, there's a red hourglass right on his butt. Dude, that's a black widow spider. Don't touch it. And the sucker was about like that big. But,
damn.
It's like the fact that he didn't think that we actually had them in Texas. Like, yeah, man.
Yeah, and they're fucking huge because everything's big in Texas.
The beers and the spiders.
Yeah. Well, the worst thing is ticks. Ticks are bad.
Oh,
Oh.
dude, yeah. It's
You get those on, you can't get them off, man. They're bad.
Exactly. Yeah.
I had a tick on my balls one time. It's an infamous story.
Yep.
FTA.
The after I was gonna say, I remember that. I remember that year.
Long story short, but it was had some legs. It was
Imagine that.
That's brutal.
Crip walking on my nutsack.
Yeah, it was, dude. It was tap dancing, doing the snoop on your nutsack.
Yeah. Dude, Masada,
Yeah,
it's
I can't
been
even imagine how you even got that off. I mean, I had a leech stuck on me one time, but you
Oh,
pull
really?
soft and like this. Yeah, but you don't even feel them. You know, it's crazy.
until you pull them off, right? Then you feel that little. It's like
Yeah, it's whatever's in their saliva. It's like, you know, it's like you don't feel anything until they finally come off, and then whatever it does, like it thins your blood out. You're just like pouring blood. But leeches suck. Kickers suck too.
Yeah.
I fucking hate those things.
Those things were worst.
Yeah, you can't even see them. The next thing you know, it's like it feels like you have like mosquito bites all over you, and like you know you have them. You know, you just can't see them. The worst.
Bobby Liebling from Pentagram, that documentary. He's like, I got parasites, right? He was real high on crack. He's itching canals into his arms. It's like the fucking parasites. You see that right there? Last Days Here. Pretty good film. You should check it out. Brother, it's been awesome. I'm looking forward to, your return in any capacity to XPW. And I know when the time is right, you'll fuck shit up. And
Get them belts back.
Definitely looking forward to that. And right now,
100%. Yeah, just got the new one, so sure. Like,
dude, that new fucking.
I only got one time to go out on one show, like, Killafornia. I wasn't even supposed to be in the tournament, so like, what the fuck? You know what I mean?
Yeah. That new fucking belt looks dope as shit, though, dude.
Right there.
It's very nice.
So,
But right now, dude, if you want to pop your fucking socials and let everybody know, if people want to get some blades and shit made, like straight up, everybody, like I've looked at this shit. It's no joke. Like the skull shit, dude. Like, man, there was one you did
So
almost look
sick.
like the fucking Crypt Keeper, and I was like, holy shit. I'm gonna have to hit you up and commission something because I like that, and I would like to do horror movie replica fucking blades. Like let's do a
definitely
Freddy's
100%.
fucking glove, man.
No, I could easily do that. I've actually done Vega from Street Fighter. I've done his claws.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh shit.
If you go if you go to official Masada, you scroll down quite a bit, like you'll see it on there. But I made the Vega claws. Yeah, like anything, like anybody wants to follow me, official Masada on Instagram or Exiled Artifacts on Instagram and Facebook, or you can go to Brigham Paul Doan Masada on Facebook and follow me. So yeah, 100%.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
StreamXPW.com, May 27th. We'll get to see what fucking happens. We don't know, but I'm fucking eager to
I'm
find
there.
out.
Once again, Masada.
Thank you so fucking much for coming on our show and hanging and having a good time, hopefully.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. I have to come back. Definitely.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
You're always welcome. And hey,
Yes,
bring your friends. Hey,
Yeah.
until next time, all you motherfuckers out there watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, share, tell your friends. If you're listening right now on any podcasting platform, you already know what to do. Download, rate, and review. Motherfuckers, until next time, the Juice, Bruiser Bodie, Shredding the Savage,
And fucking Masada.
out! Wet 'em up, wet 'em up, wet 'em up, wet 'em up!
Yeah.
It's so fucking wet for Masada. Next PW, he's coming back and you're gonna fucking be
You gonna do sex to me?
Did you like that video? If so, be sure to hit like and subscribe and check out more killer content from your boys at Juice Pro Wrestling. Whoa, yeah!